Seventh graders, we're going to be reviewing for our, our chapter test. I'm going to take you through the study guide. More says, find the sum or difference, write fractions in simplest form. So I'm going to find the sum or difference. My signs are different, which means I'll find the difference. Difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. I'm going to take the big number, which is 4.5, and I'm going to minus the small number, which is 1/3. I need to get common denominators. That's going to be 6. So I'll multiply this to 2/2. Sorry about that. And that's going to give me a negative, or subtracting, 2/6. Now I'm going to multiply this to 3/3. This is going to give make this a 4 and 3/6. Let's use it. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Now my denominator is the same, so I can subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. 6 stays the same. And 4 is not getting subtracted by anything. Remember, this is big number minus a small number, keeping the sign of the big number. Since the big number was 4.5, this is going to be at 4 and 1/6. Negative 4 and 1/6. All right, let's go on to number 2. I'm going to make me some room here. Erasing all this. And now I have negative 22.75 plus 16.811. Well, this time we're going to be combining decimals instead of fractions. Once again, I take the big number minus the small number. The big number is 22.75. The small number is 16.811. Now remember, I'm going to keep the sign of the big number. It's big number minus small number, keep the sign of the big number. So my answer is going to be negative no matter what. Now I've got to go ahead and put a 0 here because there's nothing over the 1. Notice I lined up my decimals to make sure all my numbers had something above and below them. I'm subtracting, so this is going to be, I can't take 1 away from 0. So I'm going to cross that out, make it a 4, borrow 1. 10 minus 1 is 9. 4 minus 1 is 3. I have to borrow 1 from here. And I'm going to have to borrow 1 from here. So I'm going to take 22 and make it 21. And that's 17. 17 minus 8 is 9. My decimal comes down. I have 21 minus 16. Well, I'm going to borrow 1 from here, making that 11. 11 minus 6 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is negative 5.93. Excuse me. All right, next I got number 3, and it says negative 1.85, and it says minus negative 6.3. The thing to remember about this is when we have parentheses, we are multiplying whatever's outside of it to whatever's inside of it. So this negative is like really a negative 1, and a negative times a positive is a negative. well, excuse me, a positive. Sorry. So this is really going to be negative 1.84 times, or actually plus, because remember the negative plus a negative makes a positive, 6.3. All right. um, so now we have to go ahead and, well, we have a positive number and a negative number again. So we need to go ahead and, well, so my signs are different. I find the difference. I'm going to take the big number. The big number is 6.3 here. I'm going to minus the small number, which is 1.84. I'm going to put a 0 over here because I have to subtract 4 from something. 3 is not bigger than 8, so I have to borrow from the 6 and make it a 5. This 13 becomes a 12. And now this becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 12 minus 8, well, that's 4. My decimal comes down, and 5 minus 1 is 4. Remember, it's big number minus small number, keep the sign of the big number. The big number this time was 6.3. So this answer will be 4.46. All right. And I'm sorry that came out a little messy. All right. Let's go to number 4 now. Number 4 says that 5 over 8 minus negative 1 over 6. Once again, a negative times a negative is a positive. So this is really 5 over 8 plus 1 over 6. To do this, I'm going to have to find a common denominator. Common denominator of 4 and 6 is 24. I know this because 24 divided by 8 is 3, and 24 divided by 6 is 4. So I'm going to have to multiply this to 3 over 3. And that's going to give me 15 over 24. I can see this is getting kind of messy over here. I'm going to move this. $15 over 24. I'm going to have to multiply this to 4 over 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 6 times 4 is 24. Now we have 15 plus 4, and that equals 19. So this is going to be 19 over 24. All right. Let's go to number 5 now. Write 13 over 4 as a decimal. Remember, every fraction is a division problem. So 13 divided by 4. Let's see, 4 goes into 13 3 times, leaving me 12. And 13 minus 12 is 1. When I put a 0 here, 4 goes into 10 two times, leaving me with 2 again, right? And then 4 goes into 25 times. So my answer to this will be 3.25. All right, write negative 0.76 as a fraction in simplest form. All right, remember I can take 0.76. I can change this line into, or dot into a line and put a 0 underneath each number and put a 1 in front. Now I have to reduce. Well, 76 divided by 2 is going to give me 38. Over 50. Both these are divisible by 2. Half of 38 will be 19, and half of 50 will be 25. So the answer to this one would be negative 19 over 25. All right, let's go to number 7. Find the product or quotient. This time we're multiplying these numbers. A negative times a negative is a positive. And now we have 2 times 3, right? That's going to be a 6. And we have 3 times 4, that's going to be 12. I know 6 and 12 are divisible by 6. So I'm going to divide this by 6 over 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So my answer has to be 1/2. All right, let's go to number 8 here. This time we have 6.3 divided by negative 3.5. So 6.3 divided by negative 3.5. Well, I know a positive divided by negative is a negative. So my answer has to be negative. I know 3.5 goes into 6.3 one time, but I have to go to move this decimal over 1, which means I'll move this over 1. My decimal point will be here. And now I can put this 1 in minus 35. Well, 63 minus 35 is going to leave me 8 here. And I had to borrow 1. So this is 5, and 5 minus 3 is 2. Now I have 280. I'm going to see this 280. I'm just going to check my calculator. Is 280 divisible by 35? Look at that, 8. So that's going to be 1.8, negative 1.8. Negative 1.8. All right, next I'm going to number 9 and give myself some room to work again. This says negative 2 over 5 divided by 7 over 10. This is a fraction divided by a fraction. So we can use keep, change, flip. I'll keep the first one the same, negative 2 over 5. I'll change the multiplication, and I'll go ahead and make this 10 over 7. I know 5 and 10 are divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. And let's see, 1 times 7 is 7. So this is going to turn into negative 4 over 7. Next, we got number 10 here. We're multiplying these numbers together because of the parentheses. A negative times a positive is a negative, so I already know my answer is negative. So now I've got to take, I'm just going to give myself some room to work again. Let's see, 1.68. I'm going to multiply it to 4.3. 8 times 3 is 24. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Put a 0 here. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 plus 3 is 27. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 makes 6. Now I add everything up. 4, 2, 12, and 7. And remember, I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places. 1, 2, 3. My answer must be negative 7.224. All right, let's go ahead and check number 11 out. Evaluate the expression, write your answer as a fraction or a mixed number in simplest form. Well, we've got 3 over 2. That's a negative, right? We got that over 1/4 plus 1. Well, 1/4 plus 1 is just going to be 1 and 1/4. So I can rewrite that. Now I can go ahead and say that 1 and 1/4 I have to turn into an improper fraction. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So this is going to equal negative 3 over 2 over 5 over 4. Now I can do keep, change, flip. This would be negative 3 over 2. And I'm going to be multiplying it to 4 over 5. Negative 3 times, well, we can reduce here, can't we? I almost forgot that. 2 goes into 2 and 4. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And now I can multiply across. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 1 times 5 is 5. This can be turned into a mixed number because 5 goes into 6 one time with 1 left over. So the answer is negative 1 and 1/5. Let's go to number 12. It says evaluate the expression, write your answer in simplest form. Okay, I'm going to have to figure out what part of PEMDAS I want to do first. I can't do parentheses because there's nothing to do in them. I can do exponents here, so I'm going to rewrite this. This is equal to negative 1/3 times negative 1/3. Well, negative times a negative is a positive, and 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 3 is 9. So that means this is going to be 1 over 9. Plus, now I've got another multiplication problem here. Well, this was exponent, so I'll just write this part step by step. 5 over 6. We're multiplying it to negative 1/2. Everyone sees where that came from. Now I got to do multiplication before addition. So I'm multiplying these two numbers because of the parentheses here. 5 times negative 1, that's going to be negative 5. And 6 times 2, that's going to be 12. So now I can rewrite this again. My 1 over 9 starts us off. And now we have a negative number, so that's negative 5 over 12. All right, now I have a subtraction problem with fractions. I need my denominator to be the same to solve this. I can go ahead and take, let's see if I multiply this 2, nope. That'll give me 24. That doesn't work. If I multiply this to 3, it gets 36. That does work. So I'm going to use the denominator, 36. What that means is I'm going to take 9 and multiply it to 4 over 4. Because 9 times 4 is 36, and 1 times 4 is 4. Now I'm going to take 12 and multiply it to 3, and then I have to multiply the top by 3. So 12 times 3 is 36, 5 times 3 is 15. And now remember, this was a 1 over 9. We multiply this, so this was negative. So this is going to be a negative 15 over 36. Now we have to go ahead and say we have two different signs. That means we're going to take the big number, right? We find the difference. When my signs are different, we find the difference. So it's going to be the big number minus the small number. Now it's going to give me 11, right? 11 over 36. And then I keep the sign of the big number. The big number was 15, that's negative. So this would be a negative 11 over 36. All right, number 13 says, find the distance between the two numbers on the number line. Well, notice this number is negative and this one's positive. Let's take a look at that for a second. And make some room over here to make a number line. Sorry about that. This was for this problem here, so I don't want to erase that. Oops. Goodness. Sorry about that. My answer is right here for number 12. Now number 13. If I make a number line across here, and if 0 is in the middle, I see that I have negative 1 and 3/4 over here, and I have positive 2 and 1/4 over here. As you can plainly see, we're going to have to add the distance of here and here to find the total distance between. So I'm adding these numbers together. All right, so I have to add negative 1 and 3/4. Well, remember, distance doesn't have a negative number, so I'll be adding 1 and 3/4 to 2 and 1/4. All right, 3 plus 1 is 4, so that's going to be 4 on top and 4 on the bottom. That equals 1. And then 1 plus 2 is 3. So what I have here is 3 plus 1, and that's going to equal 4. So this equals 4. All right, let's try number 14. Number 14 says I have, again, if this is the number line, and this was 0, I have a negative 3.8 over here, and I have a negative 5.4 over here. That means I'm going to have to subtract. I've got to take 5.4 and subtract 3.8 to find the distance here. So let's try that. I'm going to take the big number, 5.4, minus the small number, 3.8. I'm going to have to borrow one from here. 14 minus 8 is 6, and 4 minus 3 is 1. Now remember, this is distance, so there's no negative number. The distance is 1.6. All right? We're doing number 15 now. Number 15. All right, let me give myself some space to work here. I'm going to erase all this. All right, and this says, in a school election, 2/3 of the students vote. There are 1,464 ballots. How many students attend? To do this, I would cross and multiply. I remember that there is, let's see, 2/3 of the students vote, and there is 1,464. So I would put 1,464 on top of my fraction, and I would put 2/3 on the bottom, because 2/3 of my students voted. I would go ahead and say that is equal to, remember, I want to know all the kids in the school. If 2/3 voted, then 3/3, which is 1, would be the amount of students in the school. And I would put x over 1, because I would want to know how many kids 1 is. So if I do this, I'm going to have to go ahead and cross multiply. This is going to give me 1464 times 1 has to equal 2/3 times x. I already know that 1464 times 1 is going to give me 1464, so I can just erase this part. Anything times 1 is itself. Now, to get x by itself, I have to multiply 2/3 to 3/2, the inverse. And that gives me a 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. I cross that out, and that'll give me 1, and then I do the same with the 2's. So I'm going to have to do the same thing to this side, multiply it to 3/2, because whatever I do to one side of an equation, I do to the other. So this is crossed out, this is crossed out, and I have x left over. And now I have to take 1,464, multiply it to 3, and divide it by 2. Or I could say, what's half of 1464? Right? Because I can go ahead and divide the 2 out since it's on the bottom. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 1464 divided by 2 is 732. And now I have 732 times 3, right? Because 1 times 1 is 1. And 732 times 3 is going to give me, let's see, that's a 6, that's a 9, and that's a 21. So that's going to give me 2,196 over 1. And remember, we're talking about how many students attend the school. So anything over 1 is itself. There are 2,196 students. And that's it. I hope that helps you prepare for the test. And I will see you in class. Good luck.